Hello, stonkingly gorgeous people, what you are. Today I'm talking about the eclipse that happened and the emissary's take on the eclipse. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So whilst I was talking to the emissaries, I asked them how they were and they said, we're very busy. Very busy. I said, busy doing what? And they said, busy working with lots and lots and lots of beings. Beings from this plane, beings from other planes, just very busy. Yeah. And I said, so hey, the beings from other planes, what are they? And they said, well, they're beings that have work to do. I said, like what? Because I was into digging down. Like what? And they said, well, those beings often have jobs of manipulating circumstances, giving signs, messages, intuition to people, guiding them, manipulating the fabric of reality a little bit. So I said to them, it sounds like, and I'm using crude terms because I don't know what else to use. I said, but it sounds like you're kind of working with people's higher selves, because I've heard a lot of stories about, people having messages or reassurances or warnings even to don't do this, do this from their higher self. That's what we call it, whatever they are, these beings, that this energy that guides us. And they said, yes, that would be a fair comment to say that those beings are we're working with them to help them then to work and do the job that needs to be done. So if you get a message from your higher self and it's like a bit of guidance, reassurance or whatever, your higher self could be working with the emissaries. That's cool, isn't it? So then I moved on to the eclipse and I said to them, the eclipse, look, we've got lots. I've just read this incredibly interesting thread in Peaceful Rebellion in the Telegram channel, the chat channel that we've got. If you'd like to join it, the link is down in the video description, but you've got to be a nice person and you're welcome to come and join us. But they were talking about the eclipse and there are lots of, different opinions about, well, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, it's been hyped up, it's not going to be anything, a nothing burger, I think somebody called it, and various stuff. So I thought, well, I'll ask the emissaries what their take is on it. And I said to them, so the eclipse, is it important? Has it been important? And they said, all solar activity is vitally important for humankind. They've said it before that the solar, wherever the sun is, whether it's localized, whether it's far away, it doesn't matter. It has this incredible impact on us. I watched an interesting video of a man in the US who was videoing the solar eclipse. Okay, and he went, hang on a minute, the bloody moon's over here, I can see the moon, so what's that? Interesting, isn't it? Interesting, and I always think it's incredible, like how quickly the moon covers the sun, supposedly, and then it stays there. Have you noticed that? It covers the sun and then it just stays in the middle for ages. Is that the way the moon moves? I didn't think that was the case, and I didn't think it moved like that quickly. I don't know. Anyway, that's for another conversation. So they said, yes, it has been very, very important. And they added, and they said, and be aware that just as we know that that's very important, so do the baddies. And they've been preparing for this event to create fear. I don't know if you saw, like in the US, they were declaring, and that's where it was happening. Remember, that's where whatever energies were going on, they were extremely strong there, and in Mexico and places like that. And they were declaring national emergency there. They were closing roads down. They were creating this incredible fear, and that's what the emissaries were saying. That it was. The baddies have to create a fear element, because when people are in fear, they cannot receive as well the benefit of that eclipse. And I've heard other people talking, like Sasha Stone has done lots of work working with other people, working with a doctor who's also deeply into the whole idea of what this means and how to get the best out of it. And they were saying that the effects of the solar eclipse carry on for a number of days. The first 3 days, very, very important, but even beyond that, okay? So that energy's still with us. It's still there. And the baddies know that. And so the emissaries were saying, well, just expect them to ramp up the fear. And I don't know if you noticed, but they also ramped up the lines in the sky. I mean, the sky, everyone that was trying to see the eclipse, the sky was covered. And there was even somebody taking an image of the eclipse as a plane sailed across the front of it, leaving behind a big fuck-off trail of horribleness. So that's what they've... lots of people say, well, is it malevolent? Is it, all of this? Why would they want to cover? Why do they want to cover the sun? Why do they always, in my area, the very first thing they do in the morning when they start is to start covering the path of the sun. So the sun's passing through, trying to pass through this shit cloud, cloud of shit. And they're always doing that. They don't trail where the sun isn't. They sometimes do, but I think that's for a different reason. But normally they're covering the path of the sun all the time. They're always going across the sun. So I think the sun is positive. And I think that the sun helps us a lot. And I think this eclipse is just another part of that. And I don't think for a moment that what went across the sun was the moon. Just my opinion on that. So I said to them, how can we get the best out of this? How can we tap into these energies? And they just said, it's all internal. You've got to go on the inside and connect to you and that energy, right? It's a intern. Everything that happens, all of the changes are all internal changes. They change us. And then because of the change in us, then the external changes. It's always inside first, then outside. And so that's where our focus has to be. So I asked the emissaries, so what's the outcome? What's the benefit of the eclipse? What is it going to give us? And they said, beautiful energies it brings. That's a bit like Yoda, isn't it? Beautiful energies it brings. It brings beautiful energies. And I said, like what? And they said, the energy of change and the energy of determination. That were the two things that they said. And so they said, expect to see a step change around us. Expect to see many changes happening. Changes for the better, but also remember the way it works is this. We put a card down, the universe puts its card down, and the baddies try to trump it. Okay, and I'm not that trumpet. Okay, they try to trump that card. And so expect to see changes happening on both sides. They said also that with this determination, expect to see people exerting their sovereignty more and more and more, because people are going to become very determined and they're going to start to demand what's theirs, their right, their God-given right, their sovereignty. However, the downside of the determination, saith the emissaries, is that it's going to bring confrontation because of the fact that people are going to become determined. They're going to say no, they're going to say up to here and no further. But they said confrontation was always going to come. It's not something new. There's always going to be a moment of confrontation. So I said to them, we will win, won't we? And they said, no, there is no winning and losing in this. They said it's a misunderstanding to think about winning and losing. It's a misnomer. That was their words. They said that there's only the plan. It's a process. It isn't, like boxing. It's a bit like the world wrestling, whatever that's called. That wrestling thing, where it looks like it could be, a fair fight, and it's not. It's all planned. So when the fighters get into the ring, they know who's going to win. So it's a plan. It isn't a battle. Okay? It's just a mock battle. And that's what they were saying about this particular process that we're in. We're in a planned process. There's no winning or losing. And that we will arrive at the destination. It's a process. It's like being on a journey. We're always going to arrive at the destination. And that, the emissary said, is unquestionable. It's quite a relief. Like, all right, so we will win then. But they don't want to get into win-lose. Because again, that's one of those binary dichotomy kind of, are we going to win or are we going to lose? No, we're just on a path. But they said, also, the baddies won't lose. And they said, it's important that you understand that. They said, it's more like they will, talking about a game of cards as well. I don't play cards, by the way, but I did used to. They said, it's almost like they will just fold. They will fold the hand. It isn't that they lose. They will concede to us, to the plan. They'll concede. And then, jokingly, they said, and then they'll go off and start making plans for the next time because they've learned from this time. Like, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to do more of that. We'll have 75 plan-stroke demics or something like that. But they'll go off and make their plans and they'll leave us. They'll concede. They'll move away from the table, the gaming table, and then we'll have the whole table to ourselves. So they said there's no battle. There isn't a battle. It's just a matter of choosing on which side we stand. That's all. They said that the actual battle, the battle's happening now, but it's a battle within. It's a battle of us starting to know who we are and decide who we are and what we want to be. Because we've been sold the idea of, the Great War of Armageddon and all of that. We're in it now. This is it now. But it's a war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on our soul. Like, who's going to get it? Who are we going to gift our soul to? Are we going to gift it to the dark or the light? That's it. So again, as I mentioned in a previous video, our job is not to do, but to witness. And our job is to witness from the viewpoint, the standpoint of where we want to be, which is in the light, which is where you are. Hence the fact that you're watching this video. You wouldn't be watching this video if you were in the dark. You'd be going, he's off his fucking rocker, is what you would be saying. He has no idea. No, I'm going to listen to Rishi Sunak. Yeah? Quite how anybody can listen to him, I don't know. Quite how anybody can listen to that smarmy bastard. He's got a smarmy bastard voice, and I've met a lot of smarmy bastards and I've never been able to listen to them. I can't. And also the guy who runs Labour as well, I can't remember his name now. He's a smarmy bastard as well. What? I thought Labour was for the working class. How is it that we have leaders who talk like that? Well, actually, yes, I think the working class are very, very important. Yes, that's why I have so many millions and I don't pay tax. They're just horrible, smarmy. I mean, they're doing a terrible job, aren't they? The politicians are doing a terrible job because they're so transparent now. You're like, listen, and it isn't because I'm where I am. I suppose it probably is as well. But anybody who listens to Rishi Sunak, he's been voted, I think, the most hated man in the UK. The most hated man in the UK. Why? Because he's a smarmy bastard. And he's a liar. And, well, he's just fill in all the adjectives to describe politicians. He's all of that. And smarmy as well. And that's not good. It's not good. So there you are. So the eclipse was important. We are not going to have a battle because we're already in it. It's just a battle for who you are. And we've won the battle. But there's no winning or losing. I have to add that. But we've won our battle, our internal journey, our hero's journey. We've won it. We fought the dragon. That was the internal thing. The external things, well, they're just confetti in the wind. So, knowing all of that and feeling all of that, I'll leave you now and I love you all. Bye-bye.